Hi everybody, Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. As you all know, I am a serious Legion of Superheroes fan. I've got a ring, I've got this wonderful thing up here, the clubhouse hat. But that's not all I have, of course. I actually have lots of Legion of Superheroes books. So many that sometimes it's hard to keep track of what's in what book. Which is why sometimes I do these videos, because it gives me a chance to remember what's in a book and share the knowledge with everybody else. Legion of Superheroes has a long history. They've been around since 1958, and they are being used even today. Right now, at the time of this video, there's a storyline going on where the Legion has been taken over by Darkseid. During the DC KO event, there's something it's called. And, there are 7 or 8 members of the Legion of Superheroes that they are using in this time period. You got Sun Boy, Colossal Boy, Lightning Lad, Cosmic Boy, Saturn Girl. I believe they were using Shadow Lass, and a couple of others that escape me at the moment, but I know the second I read them, oh yeah, be there. Now, you may or may not know that the first Legion of Superheroes series was a 4-issue miniseries in the early 70s that was reprints from Adventure Comics for the most part. That was volume 1 of that's considered to be volume 1 of Legion of Superheroes. Volume 2 of the Legion of Superheroes started as Superboy in 1949. Superboy, was Superboy right up till about the mid-70s. Oh, sorry, the early 70s. I'd say 71, 72, maybe 73-ish, around the same time that miniseries came out. The Legion ended up in the Superboy book, and they eventually started calling it Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes, which it remained until issue 258. With issue 259, they dropped the pretense and they just called it Legion of Superheroes. And it was the Legion of Superheroes Volume 2 until issue 313. With 314, they renamed it Tales of the Legion of Superheroes, and that was what the title remained called until issue 354, which was the final issue in December 1987. There were so many things that happened in that title over the years, not just Superboy, where he met characters like Pete Ross, and it was in Superboy number 10, I believe, 8 or 10, I think it's 10, that he met Lana Lang. Lots of things happened in the Superboy series. And then as it went on, lots of Legion things happened in the same series. So what I decided to do today is cover the last 8 issues of the run of Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. So, one of the ways they got rid of one of the reasons they got rid of Superboy was they had decided as a company that Superboy was going to leave the Legion, and thus making the title the Legion of Superheroes. And they gave Superboy a new series that same month, because it was January 1980 of 259. And they gave him a new series same month called The New Adventures of Superboy. And for those that may or may not be familiar with it, I showed the cover of number 1 not too long ago in a birthdays video. It's the one where it says Happy 16th Birthday Superboy on it. So that went off and became its own thing, and the Legion stayed. But as I said, we're going to cover the last 8 issues with the Superboy in the title. So this is Superboy and Legion of Superheroes number 251. The story is called The Man Who Destroyed the Universe, and it's from May 1979. The cover is done by Joe Staton and Dick Giordano. The book is written by Paul Levitz and Jim Starlin. Jim Starlin is actually credited as Steve Apollo because he didn't want his name on this book. Pencils were done by Jim Starlin, and the ink was done by Dave Hunt. The Legion must wrest the secret on how to destroy Omega from a Erratic and Insane Brainiac 5. Brainiac 5 in this period was not well mentally. He had been driven insane by a character named Pulsar Stargrave around issue 239. He used the miracle machine, which was a big thing that basically could grant any wish. Like you said something into the miracle machine and it would grant it. Um, so this was so dangerous, the Legion couldn't have it around, and it was the miracle machine that created these Omegas. And so they brought in Matter Eater Lad to eat the machine, and that drove Matter Eater Lad insane as well. So you had two members of the Legion that weren't quite there, leading to issue 252. This one is called Postscript The Holocaust, and it's June 1979. The cover is done by Dick Giordano. It's written by Jerry Conway, and the pencils were done by Joe Stanton, and the inks were done by Dave Hunt. Basically, the Legion stopped the Starburst bandits from causing the sun to go nova. The Sunburst bandits are a terrorist group that were trying to extort money and power and prestige from the Earth government and threaten to make Sol, our sun, go nova if they didn't get their demands. Next up is issue 253, which is called which is called Night of the Super Assassins. Cover by Dick Giordano, written by Jerry Conway, pencils by Joe Stanton, and the inks by Frank Chiamonte. 5 youths and 1 rock creature seek revenge on 6 legionnaires. 5 and a rock creature seek revenge on 6 legionnaires that they believe that have destroyed their home planet of Dryad. They easily defeat 5 of them, but they don't count on Superboy putting up such a big fight. This here is the first appearance, right here on the cover too, of the Legion of Super Assassins, but also in particular Block, who leaves this group and ends up joining the Legion of Superheroes in a later date. Next up is Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes 254. A Madman Shall Lead Them is the name of the story. This is from August 1979, cover by Dick Giordano, written by Jerry Conway, pencils by Joe Staten, and ink by Dave Hunt. With 5 Legionnaires in suspended animation, Brainiac 5 goes to the Legion of Substitute Heroes to get help against the Super Assassinations. The subs are actually able to accomplish this, and they look competent in this issue, which is a big deal because we all know later the Legion of Substitute Heroes are made to look like a big group of shall we say, can't-dos, especially in the Ambush Bugs era. Anyways, that is that book. It's a pretty good one. It's actually what I do like is in the 70s, they did go to the Substitute Heroes a few times to help out when necessary, and they always managed to get the job done. Issue 255. The Super Spectacle Swipe is called. This is from September 1979, and it's covers by Dick Giordano, written by Jerry Conway, pencils by Joe Stanton, and the inks are done by Vince Coletta. Basically, to save the lives of the people of the 30th century Tokyo, apparently the city of Tokyo is under danger. The Legion have to travel back in time to Krypton on the day of its destruction. Pa Kent, Jor-El, Lara, and Lana Lang are all in this issue. This ended up being a very Superboy-centric issue. Surprise, 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 surprise. Just right there. This is a good one, though. If you don't read any of the others from this little thing, this is the one to read. This is a lot of fun and interesting. And it does show you one of the reasons why they wanted the Legion away from Superboy, because how much of the Legion was tied up in the history of Superboy etc., and Superman, they were trying to break that out just a little bit. Issue 256 from October 1979. This is Your Life and Death, Brainiac 5. Cover by Dick Giordano. Written by Jerry Conway. Pencils by Joe Staton and inks by Dave Hunt. To save Brainiac 5's sanity, the Legion must take over an amusement park and subject him to illusions of his past. This book here represents the first time the full origin of Brainiac 5 has ever been told. We knew little bits and pieces from before, like, the planet he was from, Kolu, and that he was like the fifth named Brainiac, because of his ancestor being adopted by the first Brainiac to make it look like he was human because he had a son and all that other stuff. But this here actually tells the story behind his his personality, who he is, and this is a very popular book among fans of the character. This is actually sought after quite a bit by fans of Brainiac 5. Next one is Superboy 257. This is Who Stole the Legion, November 1979, cover by Dick Giordano, written by Jerry Conway, pencils by Joe Staton, and inks by Dave Hunt. The Legion tries to secretly discover the cause of R.J. Brand's bankruptcy. One day, R.J. Brand finds himself bankrupt, and they don't know who's done it. There's really not a lot of clues, so they try to get into it. Then they get arrested as they do it because they find information that they probably shouldn't have. This book also has a second story in the back of Duo Damsel and Bouncing Boy in their lives outside the Legion. Duo Damsel's awesome. I love her. You should love her too. You could love her twice. Anyway, the last book we're showing is Superboy 258, which is the last one before it became the Legion of Superheroes. This book is called The Mind Attack of the Psycho Warrior, December 1979. Cover by Dick Giordano. Written by Jerry Conway, pencils by Joe Staton, and inks by Dave Hunt. And by the way, all the ones where I said Dick Giordano by himself, he actually penciled and inked by himself. Normally he just does inking, but he did the pencils on these as well. The Legion discovers that the president of Earth is the one that's been siphoning funds from R.J. Brand. And he's been doing it to rebuild the planet from the damage from the Earth War, which happened about 40 issues before this. Just before they are attacked by a villain called the Psycho Warrior. They make this discovery, and then the Psycho Warrior comes after them. This is the first appearance of the Psycho Warrior. I think he fights them 3 times, if I remember correctly. I could be lost. It may have been like the next issue he's done. But he's certainly responsible for why Superboy's not with the Legion anymore. But that's another video. That's another book. That's 259. So those are the 8 issues from 251 to 258. The last 8 issues of Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. If you liked what you saw today, please like, comment, and subscribe below. Please tell me if there's any book you read, any of them you liked, any of them you hated, if there was a character you thought should be in the Legion, if there's, anything at all you think about those ones. I want to know about it. I also want to know if you think the weather sucks. Thank you very much for joining me today. When I do Legion stories and stuff, that really sort of makes the kid in me happy again, because I like talking about the Legion so much and I like reading about it. I mean, I love Supergirl. There's no doubt about it. But the Legion is like literally like right behind her. I'd say it's kind of like this. And the fact that Supergirl was a member of the Legion almost makes it like this. So you kind of get why I like to get into it a little more. Thank you very much. My name is Matt. I like comics, and I hope you do too. Bye, everybody.